And who are you going to take next?
That's a great question. I have no clue. I'm kind of struggling here as I
15
as I
seconds.
sort through. I think I'm going to take Yeldon. I mean, we talked about him earlier. Like, why not?
Solid value.
Yeah. And because the quarterback position didn't really get hammered, I feel like I can wait another round here, see if these guys at the turn make quarterback picks or not, and then make that decision again. Like, I probably will still take one at this point because I like the team that I have, and I do want to make sure I have two good quarterbacks while Brady is out. And so I'm looking at Tannehill, Fitzpatrick, and Alex Smith. Like, if for some reason, like, all three of those guys were to get drafted right now, I'd feel okay with Cutler or Osweiler or RG3. I'm glad I don't have to pick one of those guys right now and that I kind of have the choice because I would rather have Tannehill or Fitzpatrick.
Would you handcuff Tom Brady with Garoppolo? I mean, do you like that as a strategy?
Not really. I mean, I'd rather just get usable quarterbacks anyway because I want three to cover my bye weeks in the first place.
Right.
I mean, I don't hate it. Like, this draft is going to go long enough to the point where I might make that pick. I'm just as likely to take Colin Kaepernick as I am to take Jimmy Garoppolo, I think.
Yeah. I might take Garoppolo to cover Rodgers' bye in week 4. Why the hell not?
I do have Tannehill ranked higher than Fitzpatrick. Sal, what does the schedule say? Help me out here. Make my team better.
Yeah, sure. Let me get that for you. So you're looking between Tannehill and Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to take Tannehill just because I have him ranked higher. But just
Yeah,
out
well,
of curiosity, what does the strength of schedule say for those weeks?
in 2 of the first 4 weeks, Tannehill faces the Seahawks and the Bengals,
Okay,
and then another match against the Patriots. So you're really looking at one solid, easy match against the Browns, and then the Jets, Fitzpatrick, ooh, Cincy, Buffalo, KC, Seattle. So neither one is
either one is
really that
good.
great of an option.
Maybe I should wait and just take RG3.
RG3 has Pittsburgh, Dallas, Giants, Cleveland in the first 4 weeks.
Oh,
So,
that's
like
nice.
like I mentioned earlier, his schedule to start the season is really nice.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna gamble here. I'm gonna take Tannehill. I don't hate it. Again, he's my quarterback three. Now he won't be my quarterback three for the first 4 weeks, but I'm okay with that.
He was a QB1 just 2 years ago, and now
That's
he
right.
has Adam Gase now. I mean, there's a lot of things going from.
Yeah, and the way your team is built, you have Brady, Winston, and Tannehill. So, like all three of those guys play up to their potential. You're gonna have one really nice trade chip.
Yeah, this team's come together pretty well. How do you guys like your team so far?
I really have no complaints with mine.
I'm gonna pull it up on the screen so people can take a look at it. This is a nice one, Sal. You got Julio Jones and Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah, your wide receivers are pretty stacked.
I mean, it doesn't have
Macklin,
Alex Smith,
Fitzgerald.
so I mean, it's kind of useless.
I mean, how soon will you start to think about taking your third quarterback? Like, I felt priced into it because of my Brady pick, but you have a little bit more flexibility on that front.
No, I definitely was thinking about it this round just because who is on the board? Tannehill, Fitzpatrick, Smith. Two of those guys are gone though. So I mean, if Fitzpatrick is still there, which he might be, I think I will take him just based on how my roster is built so far. Because there's a guy that has like top 10, top 12 upside, and we've seen it in that offense playing with, Decker, Marshall, Forte, Powell, and being coached up by Chan Gailey, the guy who made Tyler Thigpen a top 12 fantasy quarterback.
The Chan effect.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeff? What do you think of your team so far?
I like it quite a bit. I obviously have the best 2 quarterbacks, so I'm pretty
And
set
the
there.
worst wide receivers.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm taking upside with wide receiver. I think I'll probably end up with like 8 or 9 wide receivers, and someone like Sammy Coates can fill that Martavis Bryant role, and Sanu has a decent chance to be a wide receiver 3, and I like Travis Benjamin now that Steve Johnson's out. I mean, a lot of upside. If I just need 3 wide receivers to really hit. And I already talked about Sterling Shepard, and Doug Baldwin's pretty solid as a wide receiver 1. I
So
mean,
you're just taking that shotgun spread approach.
exactly a lot of lottery tickets. I mean, with this deep bench, we have 8 bench spots or so. I could just have pure lottery picks, and that's one good thing about going QB in rounds 1 and 2. I feel pretty set at running back, and obviously the best tight end too. So I could just go huge upside at wide receiver, and I think my team would be pretty good.
You really do have a pretty firm grasp on like the number one tight end because you did handcuff with Bennett.
Yeah, well, that's true. Exactly.
Like, I hate when people say that when they drafted, I drafted Aaron Rodgers, so I have the best quarterback. Well, yeah, well, it's like, what if Rodgers gets hurt? Then you don't have him anymore.
Like last year,
But
yeah. Yeah, I'll take probably the best quarterbacks in the league and the best tight end in the league and one of the best running backs.
Sal, you're about to come on the clock here again, or you are on the clock now. Kenneth Dixon just got selected. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I was just looking. I was going through every position available. I'm not really a fan of any of the receivers. I like some of the tight ends, but I think I can still wait. And I was just looking at my running backs, and I know I mentioned I didn't really like Matt Jones a whole lot in that offense, but I kind of do like Chris Thompson. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna team
Nice.
those two guys up together.
I love Chris Thompson. I think he's
Yeah.
another guy who's being very disrespected after a very nice season in 2015.
Right. I read something that he could actually like move into a every down role if Matt Jones is ineffective again. But Chris
Or if
Thompson
Matt
is,
Jones fumbles one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Just one more time, he's screwed. I mean, if they have that rookie behind him, nobody really knows.
All right, well, you're up. Who are you going to take?
Well, look, I have Sammy Coates, who I took over Whedon. I guess I could take them both and hope that one of them steps up.
Just more handcuffing.
Yeah, more unnatural handcuffing. um,
Well, I mean, we talked about a shotgun spread approach. This gives you a second shot at that Pittsburgh offense, which is, potentially going to be a very good one.
Right. I mean, Antonio Brown's going to get double and triple teamed all day long, and Ladarius Green could be out for the year. So, wide receiver 2 for Pittsburgh could actually be pretty good in fantasy this year.
All right, well, we're going to take another quick break here. I'll figure out my pick, and I'll tell you about it in just a sec. All right, we're back. I took another handcuff running back there in the 15th round. I took Jerick McKinnon. So between Kinnon, Yeldon, D'Angelo Williams, and Gio Bernard, I'm hoping that one of those guys becomes an RB1 by the end of the year. That's kind of my approach there. The same shotgun spread approach that Jeff was talking about at wide receiver. I'm taking that approach with my bench running backs. And we also talked about how I don't really like handcuffing or, kind of loading up too much on one offensive system. But I did just take Vincent Jackson. It's just way too late for him to be available, I think. I understand he's a little bit older, but, he's just a good receiver. And if something does happen to Evans by chance, or, if they're both good again, which is possible, I could potentially trade one of them. Hopefully, VJax. But, yeah, I don't like taking that many guys from one offense, but this late in the draft with only 3 rounds to go, we're down into the 16th round. You might as well take a shot.
I like
Jeff, you just took
Teddy, my boy.
Teddy Two Gloves.
I was going to, but yeah, there was no other decent quarterbacks available. I think RG3 was already taken. And I was looking at Sam Bradford and Brian Hoyer, so it was pretty easy to take Teddy. Ooh.
But this is the way to do it, though. If you do go early round quarterback, you can't really invest in a QB3, can you? Like, not without sacrificing too much at the rest of your team.
Not
what
at
do you
all.
think about that?
I honestly think Bridgewater has a lot of upside. So if he does turn it into a QB1, I could just use him as trade bait. The value is too good. And I do need some kind of insurance just in case Rodgers or Newton get hurt. Newton runs the ball, and so does Rodgers, really. And they both could get hurt pretty bad, I guess it's the NFL. Anyone can get hurt, but specifically Rodgers and Newton, who have a high usage rate, kind of, to borrow like an NBA term, like they're more susceptible to injuries. So, that's all good. I like your Vincent Jackson pick, by the way, only because he's in a contract year, and usually that's a ridiculous argument. But Vincent Jackson is one of the most penny pinchers in the league. Like he wants money more than anybody else. Remember when he sat out the entire year for San Diego? and he played the last 4 weeks just so his contract was guaranteed. So yeah,
I love this narrative that you're spinning right now.
That's how
this
I roll.
Is fantastic.
That's the kind of stuff that's in my head.
Just the deep pop psychology for
someone
fantasy
like
analysis.
Jackson, he's thinking about it.
Hey, I'm looking at Dorial Green-Beckham now at the top of the wide receiver ranks. What do you think about DGB in that trade? Like, do you think that he loses value, gains value? Like, what does that do for the Eagles and the Titans? Like, what did that trade? How did that trade speak to you?
Not very highly for DGB at all. I mean, he has so much potential, but his mind is not in it. I can't. He's like Johnny Manziel. I don't see it ever working out. But for the Titans, I like Rashard Matthews quite a bit. He could easily be a top 30 wide receiver this year. I'm like, not even over exaggerating.
Does that make you want to sniff around Andre Johnson at all?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That was the right answer.
Johnson, well, because they hated Kendall Wright too. Andre Johnson's essentially just like the possession guy that will only run 10-yard routes and less, But Rashard Matthews was really good in Miami last year. I think he was putting up wide receiver 2 value for a while. I mean, it's not like Malarkey's very good, but Mariota's getting better, and I think Rashard Matthews is that legit number 1 wide receiver, and he's going so late. Like, no matter what, he's going to probably return value. He's probably still available in our draft right now.
All right, Jeff, you're on the clock again here. Who you looking at?
Oh, man. Well, I only have about 6 receivers, so he should take another. I love these deep benches so much. Normally, like a month ago, I probably would have taken DGB, but I mean, he was traded for a backup guard, so I mean, he's kind of off the table. And Quan.
Who else you like then?
I kind of like Robert Woods. Looking down.
Ooh, I like that pick too.
Yeah.
He's still available.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Robert Woods is pretty solid. He's a good route runner. Yeah, I think his floor is pretty high. And yeah, and if Sammy Watkins is hurt, I mean, Woods is just going to be that much better. I think. I like Charles Clay and Robert Woods a lot this year. They're essentially undrafted in normal leagues.
Well, yeah, it's the same approach I'm using with running backs. I'm taking guys who could, find themselves in a bigger role and aren't, and are somewhat talented. And Robert Woods and Charles Clay both fit that bill for sure.
Right. And if Tyrod is going to have a top 10 fantasy season, those guys will be relevant for sure. And he's going to look at big money next year. He's on the books for 27 mil. So he's betting on himself. So I will bet on Robert Woods.
There you go. So I don't really like any of these wide receivers I'm looking at here. I mean, we just talked about how it's kind of a crapshoot at this point anyway. I'm not just because I took Tom Brady, but I am going to look at another QB here, and I just want to kind of hoard the position a little bit.
Nice.
Maybe try to find some trade value, and I think the guy who potentially has the most is Sanchez. And I don't like Mark Sanchez, but he's a starting QB in theory with 2 good receivers, and he's available in the second to last round of this 2QB draft. Now, he very well might lose his job, but that's okay. He's my QB4. That's why this pick makes sense, and that's why I'm making it.
I like it a lot. I wrote that article about Sanchez and Paxton Lynch, and I really looked into his stats. And Peyton Manning had one of the worst quarterback seasons you can have last year, and him and Osweiler were still QB20, and they were both terrible. And they still have Demaryius and still have Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, Sanchez could legitimately be a QB2 this year. He could be top 20.
Yeah, so we got one round left to go here, Jeff. We've been at this for quite a long time. Who are you hoping to land here with your last pick? What position are you looking at?
Oh, man, it's great that I don't have to look at defenses and kickers. I love that. I'm just going to look at best available. Let me look at running backs. I think I only have like 4. All right, so we got Paul Perkins. The Giants' backfield is such a mess.
Yeah, that could go anyway.
Yeah, right. It could go Darren McFadden. I don't like that either. Wow, the running backs are really picked clean.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about these deep benches as well, is you kind of have to mine for gold here. You have to look for guys who have upside, because you're not going to find floor at this point.
No, not at all. Carlos Williams, he had a lot of potential last year. He had 7 touchdowns, but he's suspended for 4 games. He's one of your boys.
Yep. This next pick goes out to Denny Carter. I'm taking Jared Cook in the last round as my backup tight end. I mean, I like the argument that and the narrative that Denny has laid out that, Rodgers could really use a guy like Jared Cook, and he's never had a good QB before. Like, maybe this is what he needed to get that jump to, the level we always thought he could get to. And, when the cost is 0, why not take that gamble?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he was Gronk and Jimmy Graham before Gronk and Jimmy Graham were around. He was like one of those 4'5", 40 guys that's 6'8" or whatever he is. And now he has Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. So the upside is definitely there.
Oh, man. Yahoo does projected standings.
Uh-oh. Do they?
First place, Greg Sauce. I'm cursed.
Oh, yeah, you're not.
Jinxed. Can't win. Sal's team's in 4th. Yours is in 5th. That seems about right.
I'll take it.
And it breaks it down by position. It shows Sal having a big wide receiver advantage. You having a very large tight end advantage, of course.
How do you have better quarterbacks than me?
I don't know.
All right, cool.
I think it's because I have 4.
Oh,
that's why.
Oh, okay.
And because I drafted Angry Tom.
Of course, he's going to get 60 touchdowns this year.
So you took a backup tight end to close things out. Now this does feel like the right time to do that, right?
Yeah. I saw him there, and yeah, exactly. Backup someone like McDonald in a Chip Kelly offense, whatever.
I mean, you'll probably drop him. I'll probably drop Jared Cook, but that's going to happen in the fantasy season, and you kind of can account for that and afford to take flyers like this in the end of the draft. Yeah. Well, Jeff, we've been doing this for long enough. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to thank Sal. He had to cut out of the call there for a little bit, but he drafted a sweet one. And, a lot of fun, man. Mock draft season is here. Like, real draft season is here. You and I got our home league on Saturday.
Can't wait.
Both of them. Can't wait. For Jeff Dumont, for Sal Stefanile, for me, Greg Smith, thank you. Check out all our stuff at TwoQBs.com. We will catch you next time. Adios.